given that our integumentary system is our most external organ system, it is perhaps no surprise that it is the most vulnerable. However, we are going to see that it is very well defended against chemical, physical, and biological attacks from microorganisms like fungi, bacteria, viruses, and parasites. One of its primary functions is to protect itself, as well as protect the deeper tissues underneath it. The skin acts as a chemical barrier because it produces acidic secretions, which create an acidic coat called the acid mantle. This helps to reduce the growth of certain bacteria on the skin surface. The skin also produces a pigment called melanin, which acts as a shield to protect our skin cells from ultraviolet light, which is a type of light that's created by the sun. The skin also acts as a physical barrier because the epidermal cells are continuous with one another. They are also reinforced with a fibrous protein called keratin, which we're going to see gives them really great strength. The skin acts as a biological barrier to defend us against microorganisms. Two of the cell types in the skin, the first being the dendritic cells that are located in the epidermis, and next the dermal macrophages, which are located in the dermis, are cells of the immune system, and they function to destroy pathogens which are attempting to enter the body and infect the deeper tissues. The skin regulates body temperature by making use of its sweat glands or by dilating or constricting blood vessels that are located in the dermis. The sweat glands cool our body by evaporative cooling. Heat produced by the body is used to evaporate the sweat on the surface of the skin, which helps to draw heat out of the body and away from the body. Blood vessel dilation helps to dump excess body heat, or on the other hand, body heat can be conserved by constricting dermal blood vessels. So let's examine how this works. So when we are warm, blood vessels that are located in the dermis will dilate, and this is going to help bring more blood, that is greater volumes of blood, closer to the surface of the skin, allowing lots of that body heat from that warm blood to escape across the very thin epidermis. This is why skin often appears red and flushed with blood after exercise or after physical exertion, or even after body temperatures rise a little bit. When we are cold, dermal blood vessels will constrict, and this is going to reduce blood flow near the epidermis and preserves our core body temperature by reducing unnecessary heat loss. So this phenomenon helps to explain why our hands often feel cold and clammy when external temperatures are low. The skin also has a rich supply of cutaneous sensory receptors, which belong to the nervous system. So the skin can detect a variety of stimuli, including touch, pressure, movement, temperature, and pain. For example, the tactile corpuscles located in the dermis permit the skin to feel very light touches. Lamellar corpuscles that are located in the deeper parts of the dermis will detect pressures, that is, sudden and very deep penetrating pressures. Hair follicle receptors, on the other hand, will detect movement of hairs as the hairs move or bend on the surface of the skin. And finally, free nerve endings are structures that are located in both the dermis and the epidermis that will sense heat, cold, irritating chemicals, or also painful stimuli. The metabolic functions of the skin include the creation of vitamin D precursors from modified cholesterol molecules. The conversion occurs when ultraviolet light from the sun converts the modified cholesterol into a vitamin D precursor. When vitamin D is eventually synthesized, it is helpful in the digestive system because it aids in the absorption of calcium from the foods that we have consumed. It also activates certain steroid hormones, such as the transformation of cortisone into hydrocortisone, which is an anti-inflammatory chemical that's used by the immune system. And as we mentioned previously about the blood vessels in the dermis that function to regulate body temperature and get rid of excess body heat, the blood vessels that are located in the dermis also act as a blood reservoir because those blood vessels contain about 5% of the body's blood volume. And they're acting as a reservoir when other organs like skeletal muscles or the digestive system require more blood as they become active. So that is, blood will be sent to these other organ systems from the skin as those other organ systems need greater blood flow. The skin also eliminates some nitrogen-containing wastes through the sweat. So small amounts of urea, uric acid, and ammonia are lost through the skin, typically through the sweat. However, the bulk of these are typically eliminated through the urine by the urinary system.